It's late October across the United States, and I've got to be honest with you. What I'm seeing on these weather models right now, it's wild. It feels like winter doesn't want to wait its turn this year. It's already pushing the door open, forcing its way into the conversation, and doing it weeks earlier than we usually expect. I've been watching this setup form since the first cold fronts of October started diving south, and the signals are unmistakable. We are about to enter one of the most active, snow-packed early winters we've seen in over a decade. In fact, when I look at the temperature anomalies and snow model projections, I can't help but think back to the legendary winter of 2013-2014, the one that buried the Midwest, froze the Great Lakes solid, and sent record-breaking cold all the way down into the deep south. Now, I'm not saying we'll repeat that exact pattern, but the similarities are there. The jet stream dipping south, the polar vortex sending off powerful cold blasts, and long-duration snow setups that just keep reloading week after week. Let's start with timing, because this is what's going to catch a lot of people off guard. By the final days of October, that first true Arctic front dives down from Canada and barrels into the northern plains and Great Lakes. We're talking about wind chills dropping into the teens, and in some places, single digits before Halloween. Cities like Minneapolis, Green Bay, and Chicago are going to feel that winter bite early. I expect the first measurable snow to blanket parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin by October 27th, with a coating possible in Chicago by the 29th or 30th. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. By early November, that cold air is going to spill farther south and east. The Midwest and Ohio Valley will see their first major snow events taking shape, while the Rockies and Northern Plains just keep getting hammered. I'm calling for 6 to 12 inches of early season snow from the Dakotas down into Iowa, and parts of northern Missouri by mid-November. Denver, you're looking at a strong start too, possibly 2 or 3 early snowstorms before Thanksgiving. Now, the real story starts in December. This is where things lock in. The jet stream becomes highly amplified, meaning big ridges out west and deep troughs in the east. That's the recipe for repeated Arctic outbreaks. I'm expecting below normal temperatures across almost the entire central and eastern US for much of December, with frequent snow chances riding along those storm tracks. The pattern looks classic, moisture from the Gulf colliding with cold Arctic air from Canada. When that happens, you get snow, ice, and a lot of it. Let's break it down region by region so you can see what kind of winter we're talking about. The Northeast. This region is in for a wild ride. Boston, you're looking at around 65 to 75 inches of snow this winter. That's about 10 to 15 inches above average. New York City could push 40 inches, with a couple of nor'easters that bring near blizzard conditions. Upstate New York, especially around Syracuse and Buffalo, might be dealing with 100 to 120 inches once again, thanks to that persistent lake effect setup. Cold northwest winds over the still warm Great Lakes will produce day after day of snow bands, especially through November and December. The Great Lakes and Midwest. This is where winter hits hardest. Chicago. You're on track for 55 to 65 inches of snow, nearly double what we saw last year. Minneapolis could easily top 70 inches. Detroit, Cleveland, and Milwaukee are all in line for 50 to 60 inches, with waves of Arctic cold driving snow squalls and deep freezes. And friends, I've got to tell you, when those northwest winds start whipping across Lake Michigan and Lake Erie, we're going to see whiteouts that bring travel to a halt more than once this year. The Plains and Upper Midwest. If you live in North Dakota, South Dakota, or Nebraska, you're no stranger to early winter, but even you might be surprised this year. The cold looks relentless. I'm talking about stretches of sub-zero mornings before Thanksgiving. Fargo could pick up 60 to 70 inches of snow, with Bismarck possibly reaching, 75? Kansas City could see 25 to 30 inches, a big step up from normal, and it might come in just a few powerful systems spaced through December and January. The Rocky Mountains. The West is going to get buried. The northern Rockies in Montana and Wyoming are already off to a cold start, but I think the snowpack this season will be phenomenal. Denver, I'm forecasting around 70 inches of snow. That's about 20 inches above average. The ski resorts in Colorado and Utah are going to love this setup. Places like Aspen, Vail, Park City, and Steamboat could see totals in the 350-400 inch range by late March. Even Albuquerque might get a couple of measurable snows this year. The Pacific Northwest. The pattern out west looks stormy, but not always cold. Still, the higher elevations of Washington and Oregon will pile up snow early and often. Mount Baker could once again challenge 600 inches, with the Cascades staying active through February. Portland might sneak in a few light snow events in January when that Arctic air pushes west. The South. Now here's where things get interesting. The South won't escape winter this year, not even close. With that jet stream dipping so far south, I'm expecting multiple cold air outbreaks deep into Texas, Louisiana, and even parts of the Gulf Coast. Dallas could see 2 or 3 snow events this winter, maybe 5 to 10 inches total, which is well above average. Little Rock, Arkansas could get 8 to 12 inches. And yes, I do think we'll see flakes as far south as Birmingham, Atlanta, and even northern Mississippi at least once in December or January. Atlanta might see a rare 2 to 4 inch snow event this winter. The Southeast and East Coast. For those in the Carolinas and Virginia, you're going to feel that winter chill too. Raleigh could hit 8 to 10 inches total this year. Washington, D.C. is due for a comeback after a couple of quiet winters. I think you could see 15 to 20 inches. Maybe even more if a coastal storm hits just right. Philadelphia and New York will be right in the battle zone. Rain-snow mixes turning into heavy snow as cold air deepens. The West Coast and California. It's not all snow out here, but the Sierra Nevada looks like it's in for another big year. I'm seeing strong signals for 300 to 400 inches across the higher elevations. That's great news for the water supply, but it's going to mean tough travel over mountain passes all season long. Now let's talk about temperatures, because this is what's going to make this winter memorable. Through November and December, most of the country east of the Rockies will be running 3 to 8 degrees below normal. The Midwest could dip 10 degrees below normal for extended stretches. That means overnight lows in the single digits, or even below zero in Minneapolis, Chicago, and Green Bay. Not just once, but several times. Even cities like Nashville, St. Louis, and Charlotte will get multiple mornings in the teens. January looks brutally cold, especially during the 2nd and 3rd weeks of the month when the polar vortex could split again, sending down another wave of frigid Arctic air. We could see wind chills near 40 across the Dakotas and northern Minnesota, 20s around Chicago, and sub-zero readings as far south as Oklahoma. February doesn't look much better. In fact, it could be one of those months where winter just doesn't want to let go. The snowpack will be so deep across the Midwest and Northeast that it'll help lock in the cold. That's when we could see another round of heavy snow events. Possibly one of the biggest storms of the entire season, forming along the East Coast in mid to late February. Now, I want to explain what's about to happen in simple terms. When I say rapid intensification, I'm talking about a storm feeding off near-perfect conditions, like lighting a match in a room filled with gasoline. Sea surface temperatures are record warm. Wind shear is minimal. There's nothing standing in this storm's way. Normally, hurricanes are fragile systems that need everything to go right. But for Melissa, everything is going right. And that's why this is so concerning. By Monday morning, models like the European are showing Melissa still sitting right on top of Jamaica, centered near Kingston, with the eye wall possibly stalled over land for 12, maybe even 18 hours. That is absolutely devastating. The winds alone are life-threatening, but the rainfall, that's where the real disaster begins. Some areas could see up to 600 millimeters of rain. That's 20 to 25 inches, falling in just a couple of days. I don't care how used to heavy rain you are, that amount of water coming down that fast will trigger catastrophic flooding, landslides, and debris flows. We're talking about roads washing out, rivers overflowing, and mountainsides collapsing. This isn't just damage. It's a life or death situation for anyone in flood-prone or hilly terrain. And it's not just Jamaica. Southwest Haiti, parts of eastern Cuba, they're next in line. Haiti in particular could see between 600 and 700 millimeters of rain. And given the mountainous terrain, That's a recipe for widespread landslides and flash flooding on a scale that will be hard to imagine. Even if the core of the storm misses Haiti, the rainfall alone is enough to bring major impacts. All right. If you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, leave your region or city in the comments. I'll answer them individually as I have time. Commenting is completely free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.